And I think we're going to be able to bring this to life a little bit more because our next guest, Matt Fields at Omron, is actually utilizing both the AMS offerings as well as the MCS offerings and as well as our migration capabilities, really the full suite of the cloud lifecycle assurance approach that you heard earlier today. So really excited about this conversation between Matt and Dustin. And real quick on the introductions, I just want to say up front, I want to very sincerely thank Brian Sellers, the account executive that's been working with Omron, for setting up this conversation. You know, they started out as just utilizing some patch management services from us, but, you know, Brian's consultative approach of working with them has, you know, opened up lots of other ways that we are working together with Omron. And I really appreciate Brian setting up this conversation. So thank you again. So introducing Matt here. Matt, I poked around on his LinkedIn a bit. I hope he doesn't mind. You know, he has over 20 years of experience in IT leadership, and he's clearly someone that's focused on driving business outcomes through kind of a people-centric approach in his IT leadership. Really excited to have him join today. Omron, for those of you who are not aware, is a global technology organization located in Kyoto, Japan, with offices all around the world. I think over 6 billion in revenue, if I'm not mistaken. And you're going to hear probably a little bit more about the range and the scope of technology that Omron provides. But it is truly staggering. They're just a very, very impressive company with a lot that they're bringing to the table. So really thrilled to have Matt here, and thank you so much, Matt, for joining. It looks like you're on. I know you had to join kind of midstream here, but certainly appreciate you joining.
Appreciate it, Chris. Can you guys hear me? Everyone hear me okay?
Sure
Loud
can.
and clear. Thank you.
Right, very good.
Thank you. Dustin, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Yeah. So Matt, I mean, Omron's a big organization. Maybe you can give our everybody who's tuned in here a sense of what Omron is and what the different divisions are and what your area of focus is.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So Omron is a global sensory and automation company. We have about 35,000 employees worldwide. Our headquarters is in, as Chris mentioned, in Kyoto, Japan. And really, our business focuses on three main areas, again, focused on sensory and automation. Those three business units are our automation robotics business. So it's specifically focused on industrial automation and robotics, so manufacturing and things of that nature. Healthcare, so we create and provide a variety of healthcare devices and services. So if you were to go to a Walgreens or a CVS, you may see an Omron blood pressure monitor on the shelf, that sort of thing. So that's all focused around, obviously, sensory, and that is a core component of our business. And then the last division is the electronic components division. So we produce and sell things like relays, switches, sensors that may go into other devices. With COVID, over the last almost 2 years now, our industrial automation and robotics business has just taken off. Companies are starting to realize that with manufacturing specifically, that you know, when manufacturing facilities have had to shut down due to sending people home because of the pandemic, or people gotten ill, things of that nature, robotics is becoming more and more of a necessity within these factories and these facilities. So that's really been an advantage for us as a corporation, and that's a big area that we focus on.
Okay. So you contacted us, gosh, I'm trying to remember when we got engaged with you about cloud. Maybe you can tell folks a little bit about, you know, what were the drivers for you guys getting to the cloud and what that journey's looked like so far.
Yeah, so our cloud journey at this point, we started our cloud journey before we talked to InterVision. They're just helping us. InterVision's really helping us get all the way there into the cloud. But our journey started roughly 3 years ago. We made some strategic decisions to be a cloud-first organization, whether it's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, obviously. We made that decision roughly 3 years ago, and really any new platform or infrastructure or software that we're implementing is cloud first. Mm-hmm. Since then, all new infrastructure that's been developed has been going into an infrastructure as a service platform, whether it's Azure or AWS, and that's been happening gradually over the last 3 years. The last 9 months, specifically, we started a project with InterVision to take really our remaining legacy on-prem infrastructure and aggressively move it to AWS. So it's about a 12-month project. We roughly have, I think it's somewhere in the 170 workloads that we're moving over that time. And during that time as well, we've also had to pivot our strategy around network technology as well. So we traditionally in the past had a legacy, kind of a legacy corporate network, but since we're cloud first, we quickly realized that our network had to adapt to where our applications live. Our applications no longer lived on-prem; they lived in the cloud. So over the last year, we've also transitioned again from that traditional corporate network technology to a full SD-WAN network, where we've been able to prioritize our bandwidth and traffic based on where our applications live, whether they're SaaS-based applications or they're in AWS or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So you had a choice I mean, there's lots of strategic partners out there. Maybe you can tell folks a little bit about the process you went through to identify who your service provider would be and what ultimately led you to choosing InterVision.
Sure. So before starting this project and this initiative around using InterVision as a managed service provider for our cloud services, we did use InterVision for, as Chris mentioned, patch management. So we did have a relationship before with InterVision. I would say we dipped our toes into InterVision's capabilities. And during that time, when InterVision was just doing strictly patch management for us, we felt very happy with the overall services that were provided. So that was one criteria why we decided to go with InterVision. Another reason is we were looking for an AWS AMS partner. So we wanted to take full advantage of AMS and its operational capabilities. Mm-hmm. So InterVision was obviously, we looked at other companies as well that were AMS partners, and based on our prior experience with InterVision and how we felt about them, that was a key factor. Another factor in our criteria, I guess our criteria of selecting a vendor, is the ability to execute on the entire cloud journey. Okay, so I talked to companies that were really good with I would say the transitional piece of it, but not the managed service piece of it. Okay, so they were more of a consulting company than a managed services company. We wanted a partner that could, from start to end, get us to where we needed to be on the cloud journey. And InterVision definitely met that bill. The plan, build, and run activities of the technology.
So why was so you made a very strategic decision in your organization to offload the management? What were the drivers for that decision making?
So there were several factors, but really the day-to-day administration of our technology, specifically our infrastructure technology, does not add tremendous value to the organization, just to be frank, right? And we wanted our internal resources to really be focused on adding value directly back to the business, understanding the business and the business needs, and how the business challenges that they're facing and the technology and the partnerships that we have can really coexist and mingle and drive a solution at the end of the day. So I always like to say, like me as a person, right? I'm not going to build a power plant in my backyard and hire a bunch of people to maintain it. I would rather pay the so many dollars a month for the electricity just to be fed into my house. So there's no value for me to hire approved people to produce electricity in my backyard. Um, so it rings true within organizations, specifically when organizations that are all about finding the best value, right? There's the best value possible, and being strategically focused on the business versus the things that frankly aren't aligned with the business.
Yeah, at the beginning of the presentation today, I know you had to join a little bit later. We talked a little bit about, organizations having put a lot of effort and cost and resources into that run bucket as opposed to grow and transform. So are you finding that by offloading that kind of the run aspect, the management of the operations, that you're able to divert resources more towards grow and transform?
Absolutely, yeah. So really, all of my staff at this point has been transitioned from they were probably working 50-75% on administration in the past. They've transitioned into more of that business partner or more like an architect role in some cases. So to really help drive the solution and help understand the business needs and then work with an InterVision on obviously the run activities, but in some cases the plan build as well. So once a plan is put together and working with a partner like InterVision, and that's why, kind of going back to my statement before, InterVision's been able to help us with not just the managed services piece of it, but if we need to implement something new, I can go to InterVision and get expertise in the architect area.
Yeah. So, and that's awesome because it makes us feel good because it reinforces that we've got the right message, and that we're doing the right things. So I would ask, so what would you tell your brethren on the call or some of the measurable benefits of going with this model? What outcomes have you been able to recognize and show back to the business?
Yeah, so I would say one of besides the fact we've been able to strategically shift internal staff to more business value add activities, operational excellence. So I think within Omron, we do a very good job from an operational standpoint, but companies like InterVision, right, they live and breathe it every day. Operations, even from an IT perspective, is not a core component of what Omron does fundamentally. So InterVision, between InterVision managed services and again AMS through InterVision was a big piece of this. We've realized that we can't put enough money behind our internal team to provide the operational excellence that both Amazon provides and obviously InterVision provides. So it's improved us operationally. It's shifted our internal staff strategically to more business value added things, and I think that's the sign of a evolving, mature organization.
Yeah. So I'll ask you one more question that we don't have a slide for, but you've got a lot of your peers in the industry on the call. What parting piece of advice would you give them as they embark on or continue their cloud journey?
I would say that's a very good question. I would say that you have to ease into it for sure. We've taken a very aggressive approach over the last year, or actually the last 9 months, to move all of our on-prem infrastructure, and it's taking a full year. And prior to that, we were already, I would say, at least halfway into the cloud. So ease into it. Make sure you're choosing the right, obviously, managed service provider at the end of the day. That's critically important. For us, having those plan, build, run type skill sets with a partner is important, and embrace the journey. So
awesome. Well, I am just so appreciative of your time, Matt. Thank you so very much, and thanks for sharing your insight. And I'll turn it back over to Chris.
Thanks, Dustin.
Yeah, Matt, that was really, really awesome. If you have time to stick around for our roundtable, that'd be awesome. But if you have to leave, I totally understand. I know you've got a lot on your plate, but thank you again. Absolutely.
Thank you.